Hi, I'm Allison Stateman with Time.com, and this is 10 Questions for Time. I'm here with actor Mickey Rourke, who came back to prominence this year with his Golden Globe winning and Oscar-nominated turn in The Wrestler. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you.
Erica Mendoza in Scottsdale, Arizona asks, what is the worst part of being a comeback story?
Talking about the comeback. Just being reminded of all the mistakes that I made, and they weren't mistakes that I can't put the blame on anybody else. I can't put the blame on the system or all the producers or whoever. It was all Mickey Rourke, and it's okay, because that's the only time I could move forward and change, was when I accepted the fact that it was all because of me.
Amir Khan in Atlanta, Georgia wondered, do you feel like the same person you were 25 years ago?
God, no. No, absolutely not. I don't walk the same, talk the same, look the same, sound the same, hear the same, react the same, especially. Before, with me, there were no rules. I didn't really care about repercussions and stuff like that, and those added up and bit me in the ass, and you have to be accountable. I wasn't very accountable or professional. I didn't care about those things.
What do you think of your 80s work?
I was always fine when I had a director that I respected. You know, I was fine with Coppola when we did Rumblefish. I was fine with Michael Cimino in a couple of movies, and fine with Walter Hill. And it would fall apart with me if I did material that for a payday, and it was just because you're sitting around, you wait for something with integrity and the right director, and they don't come around that often. So you got bills to pay, and if you overextend yourself, you've got to take something that I would call a piece of crap, and that kind of piles up, and then you just don't like yourself for the reasons that you feel like you sold out. And when I did do that, that's when I started to really kind of self-destruct, I think.
What was your favorite character that you've ever portrayed in a movie?
Probably The Wrestler.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the hardest movie I ever did, and the best movie I ever did. Probably the one closest to myself. People have been telling me.
What made it so difficult? Was it because it was something you could relate?
It was, yeah.
to?
The whole thing with coming to terms with your career in sports being over, getting older in general.
Were you surprised by what was involved with learning how to wrestle?
Yeah,
You have the boxing background.
I didn't really know about the sport or have any kind of real respect for it, because it was a prearranged kind of entertainment. And I think I ended up with 3 MRIs in 2 months, and I went, you know what? You get thrown down. No matter how you flop, something's going to shake, rattle, and roll. And so yeah, I walked away with a newfound respect for all these guys as athletes and entertainers.
John Luma in Westlake Village, California asks, how hard was it to train and get in shape for The Wrestler? And he'd like to know, what was your diet and routine?
That's a very good question. It was murder. I was very lucky. I went back home to Miami and found this trainer, this Israeli ex-commando, he's a former Israeli Muay Thai champion, and he's very strict with me, especially coming from the army and everything. And Daniel Drucker's his name. If I didn't show up, he'd knock on my door, or he'd call me from the lobby at the hotel, or he'd come up, get a pass key, and come in my room. And then there was a couple of nights when I went out too late, and I went walking into the gym, and he said, "You look like shit. You've been out all night." I said, "Yes." He says, he goes, "Sit down." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Do you want to look like that, or do you want to look like this picture we have?" I said, "I want to look like that picture." He said, "We're running out of time, brother." And I said, "Do I have to train today?" And he goes, "Get your ass over there, 45 minutes, on the cardio." And I respected him, and he respected his job, and that's why it worked out the way it did.
What made you come back to acting after such a long hiatus?
I thought I've spent enough years away from it, I could go back to it and love it again instead of not liking it.
Did you find that you had a different relationship to acting coming back to it, a new appreciation, or
very much so, very. But I thought it would take me. I thought maybe in a year or 2 I could get back in the swing of things, and it took nearly 10. So that was really hard. That was that was a hard lesson, the humility to learn. It was like I burned a lot of bridges, and it had nothing to do with my ability. It had to do with my reputation, which was terrible. And I don't blame. I look back at it now the way I behaved, and I had nobody to blame but myself. So I had to, you know, going into therapy then and learning why I did certain things, and then taking those steps forward enabled me to like go, oh man, I really messed up, and because I didn't care about repercussions or what people thought. Even though it took a hell of a long time, it was worth the wait, and I'm grateful for the second chance.
How did you deal with those days where it wasn't, you know, it was much longer than you thought
Oh
it
God,
would take?
they were lonely, painful days. I remember some dude coming up to me and said, "Man, you had it all. You threw it all away." And it was like, and I'm thinking, I want to just tell him to go. And I thought, well, he's telling me the truth, but I just don't like the time, the place, and the way he's saying it, you know. So, but you got to hear it because it's what I did, you know. You know, you got to swallow what you eat, you know.